So we're now recording. Good morning, everyone. This is Karen Robinson from Heal, Thrive, Dream. And today my guest is Roman Mironov, who is a life coach trained by Tony Robbins. And for listening today, he has available to you no fee breakthrough session. And if you mention this podcast today, Heal, Thrive, Dream podcast, you get a 30% discount if you mention the podcast, if you book further services with him. So that's pretty, you told me that before it was even Good Friday. That's a really good discount.
Yeah,
So thank you. So Roman,
my
maybe
pleasure.
start off by telling us like, how come you wanted to be a life coach? Like what drew you to that?
Well, the first reason was that I went through a painful divorce, and it was 6 years ago, and I realized that I did not have any relationship skills. So I wanted to create my second family, and I put myself out there, and I started learning all I could about relationships and dating. And at that point, I realized that I do have this knowledge now, and I'm also relatable because of this experience. And I've always been a fan of self development and self help. It helped me a lot. So I combine these two things, my being relatable and my knowledge about relationships, with my passion for self improvement.
Sounds like a match made in heaven, right? So how did you hear about me? Did you hear about me from Tony Robbins' program as well? Like, are we in the same programs? Or how did you find me?
No. Actually, I found your podcast on Potted.
Okay, okay. Because I'm in Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi's KBB program, and
Okay.
they're accelerated program. So I was like, did I meet him before and forgot? So I was like, oh, I hope not. I'll be embarrassed. Okay, so I'm glad that I'm not messing anything up with that. So what's the experience been like being trained by Tony Robbins? Just in case any listeners are interested, because he does have so much to offer people who are struggling.
Exactly. And I'm actually a big fan of him because I do believe in what he teaches. I think a lot of principles that he teaches really make sense. And in fact, the biggest reason I got hooked onto his work is that it helped me heal a mild depression. That was about 10 years ago. And since then, I've been a huge fan. And the program that I took was life coaching, and it's offered in, like, they have this Robbins Medana Center, Robbins Medana's training.
Mhm.
So it's a collaboration between Tony Robbins, Chloe Medanas, and Mark and Megali Pasha.
Okay.
So they're the main trainers. And yeah, this program was a lot about relationships, in fact.
Okay. Oh, it's good to know that. So when we think about trauma survivors, I know that for a fact, personally and professionally, that relationships suffer. It's difficult to build relationships when you yourself are struggling. So, what kind of tips could you give trauma survivors who feel like they want to give up and not try to be in relationship with anyone anymore? Do you have any sound advice for them? Like not to give up, and a couple tips and tricks they can try?
Not to give up after a breakup.
Not to what after a breakup?
I'm just trying to understand the question. Not to give up when?
Oh, it could be after a breakup, or a lot of trauma survivors are, they struggle with connection. So there's a lot of chaos in relationships sometimes. and they want to throw in the towel, and maybe the person they're with could be unhealthy, so maybe it wouldn't work regardless of how healthy they were, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of just globally, for people who are struggling when they think about having a relationship, what's some tips to encourage them to either heal or keep trying? Maybe it's too broad of a question. I don't know. What comes to your
Okay.
mind?
Okay. So I think the biggest thing that comes to mind is that actually, as a survivor, you know what pain is, and you can actually start by helping the other person heal the pain that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's really helpful that you know what that pain is inside you, and so you can relate to the other person.
Yeah.
And the whole thing, how this works, is that when you heal the other person, the pain that they have, by giving them love unconditionally, you also help yourself, because by giving love, you also get it, you feel it. That's actually one of the biggest things that Tony teaches. It's about giving. And when you're able to do that, you heal both the other person and yourself. So it is really, really crucial to keep developing your capacity for love, because it will heal both of you in your relationship. So the goal when you come into a relationship, any relationship, is actually to go there to give.
Yes.
If you are able to approach your relationship in this way, everything changes, and it's really, really beautiful.
What you said is huge. It's really huge, because a lot of people go into relationships thinking, what is in it for me? What can I get? So that is huge. Because the other thing too is a lot of times pain attracts pain. So then it's two people with a lot of pain in a relationship. So yeah, I think if the person you're with is not abusive and they're just struggling, that makes a lot of sense to be giving and compassionate and loving. Okay, so I think that would solve a lot of things, but what if it doesn't? What if, let's say it's the female trauma survivor, let's say she was abused by her parents and then was in domestic violence in her previous relationship. And then now she's in this new relationship and she's unsure. What would be some red flags for her, and what would be some flags like, okay, this might be a person you can keep trying with? So red flag, obviously, if he punches you in the face, right? Then
Yeah.
not a good situation. But what if he's just snarky? Were you snarky in your relationship before you got divorced? Tell the truth. What's going on?
Well, in my relationship before my divorce, my problem was that I was a workaholic.
Okay.
I focused on work too much, and I neglected basically my ex-wife and my son.
Okay. Would you say that's easy to fix? Like a problem like that with workaholic? Are you a workaholic now?
I'm a recovering workaholic.
Recovering.
I'm so much better. I'm so much better now.
Yeah.
Especially because I have worked with clients who are workaholics, and they push themselves to the point that they can no longer work, and they can't rest either. So that's like a catch-22.
Yes, I've been there a few times myself. I get it. Yeah. Okay. No, I think that the suggestion you gave about just continuing to love, because when you send love out to the universe too, it's really hard for people to be mean. If you
Yes.
are constantly being kind and caring, I tend to believe you track that back. So that was a really good tip.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that you can't set your boundaries. So in your relationship, that feels like abusive to you for some reason.
Mhm.
Yeah, do set your boundaries. Tell the other person what you don't like. And the fact is, when you choose to give love and love unconditionally, that's great. But you should be realistic at the same time, because if you like give unconditional love for many years and the other person doesn't reciprocate and doesn't appreciate it, there's no point, right? So you need to define a period for yourself when you're going to be giving and just giving unconditional love. Let's say it's after 3 months of seeing no results and your relationship is still abusive, nothing changes. Well, that's when you can throw the towel.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that. And that's a tool I use. And I've done a lot of couples counseling because I'm a therapist by profession. And that is something I teach quite a bit. One of the things I love about it, and there's lots of things I love, but when you put a timeline out there, your partner understands and knows what to expect. And you yourself, if you have to walk away, you can at least say to yourself, you know what, I really tried. And this is the proof that I've tried. I have really put myself out there and I have given it everything I can give. And at some point, for my mental health and my well being, it's okay to walk away in that
Yes,
situation. Yeah. So I'm glad we're saying all this too, because we don't want to put out there, be loving no matter what someone does to you. The love thing is also because you deserve to be treated well and your partner deserves to be treated well. And if you're both working from that angle, a beautiful thing can happen. Yeah.
true.
Yeah. So there are a gazillion life coaches out there, would you say? Life coaches? There's a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah. And so what do you think makes you stand out from some others? Like if someone's looking for a life coach, why you? Why select you?
I believe that I go the extra mile. I I love to be over prepared for my sessions and really think about what's happening in my clients' lives, even outside of sessions, so that I can come up with very customized solutions to their issues.
That's really cool. Yeah. So, can you run us through a typical session, like how you approach it? Like, what could someone expect if they were to hire you? Like, what would a coaching session look like? Just like an outline or something.
Okay, let's take a relationship coaching session. Okay, general one. So let's say a guy comes to me and seeks my help with women. He wants to meet more women. He wants to date them and actually develop a long-term relationship, but it's difficult for him. So what I would take him through during a regular session is this. So we will start with reviewing directives from our previous session. Let's say he was supposed to have 3 dates. So we'll go through each date. He will tell me what worked and what didn't work, and I will give him my feedback. From there, we will go to discussing what I call theory. Let's say like five most important masculine qualities and how he can develop them. And we'll spend, let's say, 20 to 30 minutes on that. And we'll end with directives resulting from learning and discussing these 5 masculine qualities. And I oftentimes also, if we have time, I include what I call general coaching areas in my coaching. Let's say we can discuss something like an evening routine or a morning routine or general recommendations for good sleep. So we're like spending 3 to 5 minutes on that. And yeah, this would be a basic outline.
Yeah. And but you work with females as well, right? You would do the same kind of thing for females.
Yes.
The dates and stuff. Yeah. I really like that because it's concrete. Like, I hate when people leave a session and they're not clear on what to do. So I like that you said, okay, have 3 dates, come back and we'll talk about them. It's very concrete, and
Yes.
feedback thing is helpful. Yeah. All right. And I also love that you mentioned morning and evening routines. I really do believe those set people up for success. So if you don't mind, I would love to hear, it might be a question I ask future guests as well. What is your morning routine like and what is your evening routine like? I would love to hear that.
Yes. So I will start with the evening routine because I think it's more important because it actually prepares me for good sleep, and good sleep is crucial to the morning routine, because if you don't get good sleep, the morning routine like falls apart.
Yeah.
So my evening routine is this: I make sure to finish my dinner as early as possible, and during dinner I don't look at any screens to make sure that I don't look at any screens for 3 to 4 hours before going to bed, including my dinner time. So I finish dinner, I take a quick walk, usually like 20 minutes. So, and during the walk, I'm going over some events that happened during that day, including my coaching sessions. So I discuss them with myself, just, speaking out.
Like
And
reflection.
then,
A reflection time. Yeah.
Yeah. Reflection time, and also self-development time. I do, at this point, I do affirmations. When I come back home, I take a contrast shower. And while I do that, I also do affirmations.
For guests who don't know, I think I know what contrast showering is if you work with Tony. But for guests who may not know what that is, can you just explain that really quickly?
Oh, it's just a sequence of 30 seconds when I start with cold shower for 30 seconds, then I take hot shower, 30 seconds, just switching between cold and hot shower, a few cycles.
And how come that's helpful?
Can you say it again?
How come that technique is helpful for people?
Wow. Well, first of all, you just try it once and you realize that you feel immediately energized.
Mm-hmm.
It boosts your testosterone. It really makes you feel better, and it's something really, really healthy, because it's actually healthy for your arteries.
Mm-hmm.
Because
it helps blood flow.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
But do experiment with it first.
Yes. Yeah, I like that you said 30 seconds each one, because the cold is a bit challenging for beginners.
Yes. Yeah, and it's different because I also do cold showers. Contrast showers are different from cold showers. I do a cold shower during the day, but in the evening routine, I do the contrast shower. And the good thing about it is that it actually decreases my body temperature already. So, and that's good for sleep.
Okay. So you do both. Yeah. See, with Tony's cold plunges and stuff, I have not tried that yet, but I have tried the contrasting. It's a little more forgiving.
Yeah,
Um,
it is.
Okay, so we're at the point in your evening routine where you've had your shower, and then is there anything else you do to get unwind for bed?
Yeah, I brush my teeth and I read a book. This is so important. I try to read as much as 1 hour because it really, first of all, I love it. It's like me time, strategic laziness time. I
Mhm.
enjoy it so much, and it actually helps me fall asleep because as I read, I do I do fall asleep, and I notice this difference when I track my sleep. I realize that I fall asleep so much faster after reading a book.
Yeah.
And the morning routine is this right now. So I wake up, I I breathe for a few minutes, like taking deep breaths. Then I make sure that I listen to something very positive, like a positive podcast or something self-help related. Then I do my morning stretching routine. And I also do quite a few pretty intense exercises just to, get me going, like one-legged squats and push-ups.
Did you say one-legged squats?
Yeah, one-legged squats.
Huh. So you must be in pretty good
And
shape if you can do that. One-legged squats. Aren't regular squats hard enough?
say again,
I said, I think squats are challenging. I can't
they
imagine
are.
one-legged sounds very challenging.
Yeah, they're quite challenging. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So after exercise, like what's your breakfast like? Or when do you have breakfast?
I don't. I eat one meal a day, just dinner. That's it.
Okay. Is that because you are doing interval fasting, or what kind of plan is it that you're having one meal a day?
Yeah, yeah. A big reason for me is the intermittent fasting, and I like to compartmentalize my day. So the first part of the day is work, yes, and then I exercise, and then I'm ready to have my dinner. That's it. I like it like that.
Okay. All right. One other question I have, because you mentioned reading. What are you currently reading? Anything interesting?
Yeah, actually, I yesterday I finished 2 books. The first one is I loved it. It's called The Salt Path by Rainer Wynn, and this is a book about a couple who lost their in England. They lost their house, and they were quite old, and so they were pretty much lost. And at that point, they had an idea to take a walk down the coast. And this trail is called the Salt Path. And it was very, very challenging. But by going through that challenge, they were able to reset themselves. They were able to find new meaning in life after losing their home and becoming homeless. So
Wow.
it was an incredible inspiration for them to go on to live their life. And the book is so inspiring in this sense.
So it's a true story.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just
Okay.
it's like a biographical book, I should say. Yeah,
Oh,
it's a true story.
it sounds amazing. How do you spell the author's last name?
Rainer Win. I think it's double N. WINN.
Okay, I love that you mentioned inspirational book because those are so much more rewarding to read, right?
Yes.
Was there another book that you wanted to mention?
Yeah, because as a part of my evening routine, I read fiction because I believe that fiction helps develop imagination and actually relate to people more, relate to clients more for me as a coach. And yeah, the book that I finished is is by Dan Kuntz, and it's called Forever Odd.
Forever On?
Odd.
Oh, Forever
ODD.
Odd. Okay. I've read some of his books before.
Yes. And actually, it's the second book in a series.
Okay, good. Do you yourself have a book out?
No.
No? Any thoughts or plans of writing a book?
No, not a book.
Not a book? Okay. All right. So what else would you like the audience to know about you, about whether or not that you would be a good fit for them? What do you want to share? And also, how can they reach you?
I think I am a good fit for people who want to develop their relationships. I believe that that's really my cup of tea. And I am very passionate about helping people find love and become a better partner in a relationship. I love when people come to me and they say, I want to really like this, really make this relationship work. And I prefer this type of clients to people who come and say, okay, fix my partner, fix my relationship, because fix my relationship through like helping me manipulate or influence my partner.
Yeah.
And yeah, so about finding me, please go to my website, which is www.romanmironov.com, spelled as ROMANMIRONOV.com. Hit the contact tab and sign up for a free session with me, and we'll go from there. And yeah, make sure to mention Karen's podcast, and yeah, I would love to give you that discount that Karen mentioned.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. I really enjoyed talking with you and learning more about you and your services. I think you are a wonderful resource for people, because a lot of coaches are not willing to work on the relationship issues because it can be kind of complicated. It's two people instead of one. So it's cool that you enjoy doing that. So thank you.
Thank you. It's been an honor and a privilege. Thank you, Karen.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to stop the recording.